this is what I would call a mini pre-fight breakdown. It's going to be smaller. I'm really going to be focusing on Francis versus Fury because there's more to work with there, and this isn't going to be too long, but we're just going to talk about the fight coming up tomorrow. AJ versus Ngannou. AJ, who's primarily going to be a one-shot sniper slash calm counterpuncher in this fight, he's going to be facing off with one of the best examples of a wild card warrior, somebody who's unpredictable. You can have him calm boxing, or he can jump in and try and annihilate you with a crazy 3-punch combo that he bring back from Cameroon. He's unpredictable and underrated intelligence, which we're going to talk about in this breakdown, and probably the hardest puncher in combat sports. Well, recorded the hardest puncher. This fight is going to be won on how Francis responds to AJ's counters, not just how his chin responds, but how he adjusts, right? And jabs from the outside. AJ has some great jabs. AJ's great on the outside, one of the best boxers on the outside in the heavyweight division. And then the other question is, how is AJ able to defend himself in exchanges and keep range? Keep in mind, even if AJ is boxing perfectly and outboxing Francis, and even avoiding exchanges for the most part, Francis could jump in out of nowhere and catch him, which Francis has a history of doing. It's not just because he punches hard; it's because that's a consistent function of his style. That's what he does. He's like the Incredible Hulk. Sometimes you can hit him with everything, and he'll hit you with one thing, and it's over. But before we continue, I'd like to have a moment of silence for those of you that have not hit the like button yet. Go ahead and do that, and let's get straight into it. In order to acknowledge the threat that Francis poses to AJ, we have to look at the reason why he knocked down Tyson Fury. And that reason is a little bit different to the reason he would run through so many people in the UFC. In the UFC, he would literally run through knockout punches from his opponents, eat them, and then land one of his shots, and it would be over. In this case, it was quite different. It was a lot more thought out, a lot more deliberate, and just a lot smarter in boxing. So obviously that left hook has been talked about a lot. He has a natural left hook counter, like if you look at the Stipe Miocic fight, and it comes out in response to certain stimuli, certain things that his opponent does. In the case of Tyson Fury, he kept spamming the same 3-2 combo. The 3 is a throwaway slap and hook to bring the guard out, and the 2 comes in once the guard is clear. But he kept throwing that, and Francis kept countering with the repetitive left hook. So what that shows is that if Francis sees the same thing, he's going to adjust, he's going to respond, and he has counter punching ability. So notice, once that lead arm works from Fury, well, really Fury kind of starts off moving his right hand, and once Ngannou gets a glimpse of that, he opens up. Look at him, he is terrifying. And so he opens up, big left hook over top. Luckily, Fury's head is kind of off the center line, which is an important thing. So when AJ is inevitably going to get involved in exchanges, defense should be the first priority. And when someone's in the sniper role, which AJ is going to be in, meaning he's going to be on the outside looking particularly for like big shots and counters and setting traps and things like that. When he's in the sniper role, fighting a much more dangerous puncher, that's often a recommendation, is when you're in exchanges, obviously you want to get out of the exchanges, but in that process, you want to be defensively responsible first and offensive second. So AJ can't afford to take Francis's shots, but Francis can't afford to take AJ's. And that's not a judgment on power, that's a judgment on chin. Because AJ, I think, can definitely hurt Ngannou. I think he will. But Ngannou is way more liable to hurt AJ with a one punch than AJ is to hurt him with one punch. So this is one thing AJ can think about, because I think AJ has some of the most underrated trap setting in the heavyweight division. Probably someone only like Usyk, I think, is better than him, including Fury. I think he's better than Fury with setting traps. So when Fury does a little feint right here, maybe he did a feint, maybe he didn't, but whatever happened, Ngannou responded to something. He tried to jump in and counter, and as he's trying to jump in, he overextends. In these situations, these are the perfect opportunities for AJ. This is what AJ should be thinking about: setting traps, getting Ngannou to overreact, overextend, and counter it. That should be AJ's general game plan, as general as it gets. But what does Fury respond with? 3 followed by the 2. And what does Ngannou respond with? The counter left hook. Now, what's getting Fury out of trouble in these situations is that he's He's obviously the shoulders getting up there when he's throwing the two, but he's also shifting his body to the side. He's slipping a little bit. So defense in the exchanges, that's what I'm trying to show. It's earlier Fury got dropped because he just thought he could just throw a 3-2, and that didn't work out too well because he just sat there with his head on the center line. AJ needs to be thinking, if I'm opening up, I need to be having my defense in there, because AJ can't handle Francis, but Francis can handle AJ. But then look at how Francis has a delay in his reactive left hook. And that delay comes because of the feint. Feint gets Francis out of position, gets him reacting. Now that he's out of position, he can't react as quick. And so before, he would react once that left shoulder moves. He's already like, okay, here comes the 3-2. He's responding on the 3. He's responding on the left hook. And now, as he doesn't have the time to respond because he's already getting caught with the cross. But notice he still follows through with the punch. So even when he gets punched, he's going to be countering. I mean, like the knockdown, he got caught with the shot. He still followed through with the punch. So Ngannou is always going to be dangerous in round 10, in round 1, when he's tired, when he's fresh, it doesn't matter. When he's getting hit, when he's not getting hit, this is the definition of a wild card. And we were talking about AJ's ability to counterpunch. Look at what Ngannou does here. He's measuring using his lead hand, and then he plants and tries to explode in with the left, and it just barely grazes Fury, if even landed me, like got some of the nose hairs. And what does he do? He kind of overextends, and Fury, as he's jumping back, step back, counter with the cross. And that's what AJ specializes in: step backs, pull, slip counters, particularly when someone's trying to enter into range, and particularly when they're overextending. And in his last fight, it was especially clear versus southpaws. So if Francis is going to southpaw, and if he's overextending, I can't think of a better opportunity for AJ than in that situation, similar to what we just saw here, where Francis is overextending, trying to come into range, and AJ is ripping some great counters, and he's far more accurate with these types of counters too. Here, Fury tries to get creative, guard manipulation. He's gonna try and force the guard to open up around the outside. Look at his left hand. He throws it around the side, tapping on the guard a little bit, just so he can line up the uppercut up the middle. So guard is gonna widen, which means opening up the middle. And then Ngannou even ducks in response to that, probably because he's trying to get underneath the right hand he's expecting. But the right hand turns into an uppercut. And that's similar to what he did to Dillian Whyte, what Fury did to Dillian Whyte. It barely misses just because of bad range on Fury's part. But these are the types of strategies AJ can think about. How can AJ, this is the important question for AJ, how can he keep him on the outside? And how can he keep Ngannou inactive and not wanting to open up? If he can find good answers to those two questions, he should be able to win this fight, barring Ngannou pulling an Incredible Hulk and just walking through him all of a sudden, which is possible. If he can't find good answers to those questions, Ngannou is going to walk him down and then walk through him. Because if he can't make Ngannou hesitate, if he can't make him stop, then Ngannou is going to find opportunities like how he does right here. Look, so after Tyson Fury misses, Ngannou is like, oh, you missed? I'm finna line you up and blast him in the jaw. So if you can't stop Francis, he's not gonna stop himself. He's gonna put in work. But similar to what we saw earlier, a little bit of an entry feint with the shoulder, and it's kind of a stutter step entry that disguises the real thing. But look, Ngannou adjusted. He noticed the feint, didn't bite, didn't respond. So last time he responded, adjustment. He's not responding to that feint, and he's letting him enter, and he's following with that left hook. He gets over the shoulder because Fury's a little bit more stationary here with his head a little bit more on the line. He didn't slip as much. Shoulder is not really blocking the shot. And so this is one thing I wanted to highlight on Ngannou's part is he may be thought of as just brawn, and sometimes he fights like that. Sometimes he's quite brawn and not a lot of brains, but he's definitely underrated when it comes to his ability to adapt in that ring. And I think it's because he's quite calm. His fighting style sometimes isn't calm, but I think mentally he's very calm and in tune with what's going on. And so he's going to respond and adapt if you keep giving him the same thing over and over. So Fury kept giving him the slapping 3 followed by the 2, and Ngannou countered that in round 3. Then Fury tried to introduce the feint, and Ngannou started not responding to the feint so he could counter again. So this fight is very interesting for so many reasons. It could be very straightforward, or it could be very back and forth, or it could be over in one round. There's just so many outcomes that are possible. That's what makes this fight interesting. It can be AJ just straight up outboxing him and counter punching and setting traps, which I think AJ is better at setting traps than even Fury. Or it could be back and forth with them hurting each other, which is definitely possible because AJ can definitely rock Ngannou. Or it can be Ngannou running through AJ, as he's prone to doing a lot of other people. Now, this is the prediction part, I got AJ winning a pretty clean decision or even a stoppage. I don't think he'll knock Ngannou out cold, but if anyone's getting knocked out cold, it's, I think, more likely the other way around, Ngannou getting AJ out of there. I think AJ's counter punching is going to shut down Francis, and I think he'll take control of the fight and either win by a stoppage or a clean decision. Now, listen to this part. As I said in the beginning of the video, being a wild card, anything can happen at any moment. So I could end up being right about the flow of the fight, meaning kind of like how the fight is playing out, but the ultimate outcome could be Ngannou just catching him regardless, even if he was getting dominated. So keep that in mind. Also, like I said in the beginning of the video, like the video. It helps spread the science. Subscribe if you have not already, because if you watch my videos and you don't subscribe, then you see less of the videos, which means you see less of what you like. The most important part though is tell me your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win, how and why? Get down in the comment section. That's what the fight scientist community is all about. I will see y'all later. Immortality Serum out.